Steve Moore is a wine connoisseur and has a penchant for slightly iffy Italian cars. He also runs and owns the Moto Rapido British Superbike team. To be on the podium yesterday in a team run and owned by essentially private, there's no major title sponsor.
No, that's right. We're a little motorbike shop.
You're a little motorbike shop.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you the beauty of BSB, doesn't it?
Exactly that, yeah.
There's probably 10. I think Glenn's the 9th winner.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
So you've probably got...
I think there's 8 podium finishes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've probably got 15 different bikes and teams, packages capable of winning.
Yeah. I mean, in motorsport, any motorsport, then funding makes it easier. But it doesn't in BSB Superbike, it doesn't mean it's the be all and end all of everything. We don't have anywhere near the budgets of some of these teams. We just don't have it.
What does it cost? Can you tell these lovely people what does it cost to go racing for a year with one rider?
There are a lot of variables, so it's really hard to stab a number on it.
Okay.
But if you're going to put a number on it, I would say £300,000. Just how you sort of quantify the budget varies massively. While you'll never get a straight answer like that usually, because some guys will say, okay, well, if we had to pay for oil, we'd add another £10,000 to the budget. But Motul are really good and they sponsor us. Yeah. So do you consider that as right? Take that out of your money, or do you consider that part of it and then consider the sponsorship covering it? Well, so it's a bit hard to quantify some things. Equally, things like riders' wages. Some riders bring money to teams. Some riders want money from teams. Some riders have personal sponsors they bring with them, and they take a percentage of it. There's no one business model structure for a race team. We don't we don't hire a building. We don't have all the things that are in the background that cost a lot of money. So when you think of racing, you think of the bike, engine, fuel, tyres, mechanics. Yeah. But actually, you need a building and a workshop, and you need insurance, and you need a lorry, and you need an operator's license for the lorry, and you need documents. There's just so much backroom stuff.
To give the viewers some sort of an idea, what's a tyre bill for a weekend?
About £3,000.
Fuel bill for a weekend?
About £600.
And BSB don't pay entries, do they?
No. There's no entry fee in BSB.
Essentially running the bike on top of what you're...
Yeah, so if you looked at budgets, I'll give you some sort of round numbers. Yeah. So in the season, we'll use 6 engines. We'll buy 3 brand new engines from Ducati, and then we refresh those once, giving us our engine cycles, if you like. So 6 engines isn't do so many kilometres on it and throw it in the bin. We refresh it once, and then we throw it in the bin. So we do 6 engines. An engine is about €25,000 in kit form, and then we build it ourselves.
And that's from course?
From Ducati course, yeah. So we get an engine kit from Ducati, and that comes as every single nut and bolt in a plastic bag individually. It's quite a big box. It's quite cool when it turns up. But then we have to build it. So we've got 2 in-house engine builders. So if you think about the seat, engines will do. We kind of have a budget for about 75,000 in engines.
Wow. So that's included in the 300 grand?
Yeah. Wow. And then we'll kind of because I don't account for any cost in labour of doing it, or all the little bits and pieces, or the tools and equipment, or I just don't. I just don't. Exactly that. Yeah, it's not. I can't see it. It's not happening. So I'll ignore that. Yeah, and then away you go.
So that engine, 6 engines. What's next?
So engines are it's in consumables. You've got engines and things like chains. We're lucky enough to get sponsored by Chains. So thanks to Steve Reactive for that. And then things like brake pads and brake fluid and clutch fluid, all those things that are we use ZF4
so they're
pads.
£300 a set?
About that, yeah. They last pretty well actually. They're quite good, yeah. And discs, they're quite we do sort of 1,500 kilometres on a pair of discs. So, but we have like 8 sets of discs, so 9 sets of discs. So we keep those circulated. I mean, we keep a really close eye on all the consumables that can very quickly expand your budget. I know some of these big teams just go, we'll put new stuff on every other weekend, doesn't matter, it's consumable, chuck it on there. But we kind of mileage out every single little part, everything, even sprockets.
Yeah,
it's all about reducing risk for the most amount of bang for your buck, or no bang for your buck, ideally.
One of the most commonly asked questions was, what is the difference between your bike and the PBM bikes? Because in terms of factory, everyone loves a bit of factory and BSB, don't they?
Yeah, love it. It's the most popular word.
Yeah. But their bikes, am I right in thinking their bikes are built in the factory?
Yeah.
So they're just delivered straight from course.
Yeah, well, Ducati are, I think, the only manufacturer that you can buy a racing bike from.
Yes.
So we say, well, our bike didn't start as a road bike, whereas a lot of the other manufacturers, they'll take a ZX10, strip it down and build race bikes on it. Whereas our bike was built as new from as a bike at the factory in Ducati Corsa in the workshop. So same as PBM bikes, and that bike will do 2 or 3 seasons. It gets updated. It's a bit of a trigger's broom, really. But yeah, the Ducati will sell you a rolling package, and you can have whatever spec you like on there.
Right.
So they're pretty good. Without Ducati's support, you can do that. And then we put in BSB, we put our own wiring loom electronics on it. We run a slightly different wiring loom configuration to PBM, but not much really. Use the same ECU, same dash.
Yeah.
They're using a different swing arm currently, which we didn't really get on with. So it's sort of it's personal choice.
Yeah.
I mean, Shaky goes between 2 different swing arms, and we've kind of settled on one of the 2.
Right.
So we use that one. They got a slightly different exhaust configuration.
I say that your bikes are louder, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, your bike is louder.
Yeah. Sound cool, don't they?
Yeah.
So there's just different preferences. I think they were trying to solve some problems with the power delivery that Shaky didn't like, and we've solved it in a different manner to them. They did an exhaust, we did some of the electronics, so it's all rooted in the same thing. But that's what teams are. But as far as how different the bikes are, there's very little in it. They might run a different manufacturer for sprockets or chains or oil or that sort of stuff, but the actual motorcycle itself and what's available, so we have the same yokes and the same everything, really. Well, they're beautiful bikes because they're factory prepared bikes. Ducati take a bike, no compromise to it, and say let's build it for racing. I don't know what the politics are with the other manufacturers, but we've got amazing access to these guys at Ducati course. This weekend we've got Ernesto Marinelli, who's the Superbike project director for Superbike racing for Ducati. And he's turns up at BSB and comes in our garage and has a look through our setup and chats to us about stuff, and I've got his mobile number, and if I have a problem I can phone him at a weekend. But I'm pretty sure you can't do that with manufacturers.
No.
That's an astonishing
Certainly
thing.
Japanese manufacturers. It's just a no-go, isn't it?
Whatever parts are on Chaz's bike, we can buy if we want them. If they're within our rules, they'll say, here's an update for it, here's that, and they actively tell us, look, here's an update, we've tried these things, this is good. I'll speak to Giovanni Krupi, who's Shaky's full-time crew chief. He's here to help out everyone Ducati, even some of the guys in the Ducati Cup he's helping out with technical support and that sort of thing. He's kind of Ducati's representative here,
right? Which
is good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're putting massive effort into Shaky because that's their best chance of winning the championship, which makes perfect sense. But if we have a problem, I talk to Giovanni 2 or 3 times a week and say, this might have broken, or have you seen this? Or he'll tell me, look, there's an update coming out, but it's really expensive and it's going to be of no benefit in BSB. Don't worry about it, And then I'll see it on Shaky's bike.
Chris Rufus asks, what maintenance goes on during the weekend and in between races?
Okay. Well, in between races, weekends, the bike gets stripped down to a bare frame. It's all about mostly cleaning and inspection. That's like the absolute key thing is taking it apart. And we have to have a whole load of stuff. We don't, all the little bits that you kind of think, oh, that's broken on your track day bike, or if you're a club racer, then we can't have those bits break, so we have to change them all the time. So even things like fairing fasteners and screens get changed between each weekend. But the bike's stripped down to a bare frame, clean, checked, everything's done. We've got a back-to-back now, so we've got Alton Park next weekend. So we had a complete strip down after the last one, which means everything's stripped out. The yokes come apart, the swing arm comes apart, all the bearings are knocked out of it, the whole thing's cleaned. Our swing arm is modified in such a way that we make it more flexible. So as a result, we have to crack test that every other round. So we have some sort of dye that the guys put on it with a UV light and just check it isn't cracked, and then they rebuild it. But it's things like cleaning out the radiators and cleaning out the airbox, making sure everything's right. And then at the weekend, between each sessions, you'll see they'll pull the clutch out and check that. And we'll do an oil change every 250 kilometres. So halfway through a weekend, we'll do an oil change. And then they'll, at the end of each, like after the race yesterday, they'll take everything apart just to check things like, obviously the wheels are out of it, but they'll take the calipers off and clean them, and they'll take the exhaust off and check there's no cracks or breaks in it or anything like that. Check the subframe, check the fuel tank, check the fuel pressure, it's got a lot of sort of routine stuff, and it's quite carefully worked out.
Because I remember talking to you on Friday, and you were saying, which I was quite astonished about, you were saying that you do 8,200 kilometres a year
In a season, yeah.
in just a race season.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's 5,000 miles, which is, that's a lot of mileage.
There's not many easy laps in that either.
No.
It's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about the kind of longevity of some of the parts, and it seems strange to sort of people that things like a fuel tank will reach a certain mileage and we have to change it.
Yeah, I still
You'd
can't
expect to think a fuel tank lasts forever, yeah. But if you think this weekend we'll use 11 rear tyres, then if you said 11 rear tyres and we'll use one clutch, so a complete clutch will be gone. If you compare it to your road bike, if you put a new clutch in your bike every 11th rear tyre, you probably think you're doing alright, aren't you? That clutch would last alright.
Yeah.
And that's one weekend for us, And everything's at such high stress. The stress on the engine and the stress on all the components it multiplies. It's not linear. At 6,000 revs, the thing would last forever, but we're at almost 13,000 revs. So,
Andy Taylor asks, how much do you budget in a season for crash damage and repairs?
We have to put a number in the budget, but it's pretty difficult to actually quantify it. You never get it right. We typically expect a small slide like John had yesterday would be about 2,000 quid.
Man, really?
Yesterday was a couple of thousand quid, but a big one might be 3 or 4 of that. It depends what you break. Yesterday John broke. If you break a dashboard, it's a couple of £1,000. Which we've done a couple of dashboards. They're quite expensive because they do flashy logos.
Yeah.
And but things like the factory intake at the front, the carbon air scoop, the snorkel, the factory call it. It's actually quite a complex thing to make.
It.
And it's quite that took quite a bit of designing, and the carbon fairing goes around it. Those intakes are about €1,800. So you break one of those off.
Yeah.
Then it can cost a few quid.
Turn me to you. You can now get an exclusive 10% off all Terminioni exhausts through 44 rewards with our partners Conquest Carbon.